Hey, what's up, team? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology. This video is on the Enneagram Type 7 bad stuff represented as monster abilities. And so let me just get started. The Type 7, the Shadow Lord for the Type 7, the demonic side is gluttony. And it's not necessarily about wanting to consume all the food. It could be, but it's filling yourself up with experiences and ideas and just eating everything that life has to offer and not wanting to eat healthy. It's just, I'm going to take whatever is around here and just get more and more and more instead of worrying about balancing my diet and taking in some sadness and some pain as well. It's just all the good stuff all the time. And so the defense mechanism that is within the Type 7 is called rationalization, and this is where unacceptable motives for an attitude or an action are reframed through good reasoning. So it's kind of just rethinking why I did this, why this happened, and not really allowing the unacceptable motivations to be present within your mind. So it's erasing those, brushing them off, and then just being like, well, this is actually what I wanted to do, and then everything's okay. At least that's my understanding of it. And so the Shadow Lord here, the monster abilities, are going to try to make the players and the characters feel somewhat trapped in terms of they are struggling to make a decision. They're constantly planning and reacting to the next move, and they're anticipating that next attack, or they're trying to set things up so that they can do one thing while all these monsters are coming at them. And the main play mechanic here is that it's going to keep the players exploring and doing things while the danger is ramping up, through either failures or through timers and things like that. So there are some tactics and abilities that I'll be explaining later, but the general idea here is that you're going to, as the DM or just controlling the monsters and stuff, you're going to lure the characters into trying to open some often trapped chests during fights and kind of teasing out curiosity in a lot of ways, relying on avoidance, dealing with randomness and some fight constraints, and dexterity checks and things like that, because people in here often want to bounce from opportunity to opportunity. Enneagram Type 7 is highly correlated with extroverted intuition and extroverted sensing. So these are extroverted perceiving types. They want the freedom to move around and experience life and not be held down in any way. So that's where dexterity comes about and some lightning-like abilities and things like that, wanting to keep moving and exploring possibilities, right? So I actually did a playthrough of this. I rolled up a location. It was the Potion of Dreams store, and I rolled up 3 different abilities and had 3 different kind of locations within there. There was a rift opening in the basement of the Potion of Dreams store, and I had to fight. I was dropped outside. I had to go into the main building and then down the stairs into the next part. And the 3 monster abilities I'll be talking about here, I felt worked pretty well. Actually, there are 10, but I only summoned 3 different types because I'm trying to keep it easier just for the start. So let's talk a little bit about those abilities right now. The first ability is Fever Strike, and this is a dexterity contest. So the monster is going to jump at you, try to slash you or something like that, doing weapon damage, which is a 1d6, which might not sound like a lot, but you only start with 10 hit points. So it could be a lot. Or it could be 1 and you're very happy. Anyway, it's a dexterity contest, so it's going to try to attack you. You need to beat its dexterity roll with your modifiers. So if you are, let's say, an NE type, if you're the innovative gunner, you're going to likely have a lot of dexterity, so it's probably going to be easier for you. So you fit in well with these abilities that are coming at you. But a slower type, maybe like the methodical guardian, introverted sensing, is going to not be able to dodge a lot of those abilities. And this is, I think, that part that is slower. It's tied to your past, to your memories, to settling down, even thinking about sadness and these negative emotions and things like that. So that part is going to suffer against these monsters, where the dominant function is going to be able to bounce around a little bit more if that's how you're playing this game. Anyway, so when you get attacked, if you don't make the dexterity check, then you're going to take 1 point of damage on top of the weapon effort. And you're going to see double until you make a constitution check to fight it off. So it could be bad. It could mess things up a lot because you're attacking the wrong targets and you don't know which is which. Until you attack it, then it'll disappear. Kind of illusions, I suppose. Next up, ability number 2. It's Blink, which is a standard ability. Make a near move instantly without traveling in between. So when I was playing through this, and this was one of the monster types that came up, the ability sets that came up, I was in this Potion of Dreams store, and they were blinking up on top of the rafters and the stands with all the potions and vials and things in it, and it was pretty difficult for me to get to them. And they were able to get to the back line and attack the healer, Introverted Feeling, and that really sucked. And so I think it was pretty good. It was a lot of chasing things, which is a feeling that I want to come out within the Kingdom of 7 and the monster abilities. Ability number 3, Conjure Weapon. This was another one that came up. You have a magic caster type, and he's going to summon a magic weapon. It could be like a flaming sword. It could be this, what was it? It was a goblin metal corruptor or something like that I summoned randomly last night, and anything within near range after 2 rounds that was metal was going to just disintegrate. So that kind of sucked. If it was like a flaming sword, it would be able to move and attack on its own. Whatever the thing is can move and attack on its own, if that makes sense. The thing is, it has 1 hit point. Really easy to kill, which is great. That's not a problem. But the problem is that, one, it moves separately from the owner, so it's another monster you got to deal with. And also, if you kill the owner of it first, the thing that summoned it, there's a 3 in 10 chance, roll a d10, 1, 2, or 3 is a success, 3 in 10 chance of the weapon persisting as loot that you can pick up and use. So you don't want to attack it, but it's a weapon. It could do a lot of damage. So it's kind of this decision of like, do I want to do the right thing and just get rid of it and then kill the bad guy because he's defenseless? Or do I want to kill the bad guy and take all this damage from the other stuff that's coming at me because I'm curious. I want to know what's in the box. And ability number 4 is Treasure Hunt. I'm still playing with this a little bit, but it's going to summon 4 treasure chests. You're going to try to open them, and at least one of them is going to be a real chest. The other 3, possibly, are going to be traps. So you can decide this by rolling a 1d4, and if it's a 1, then that's the real chest. If it's a 2, 3, 4, then it's a trap. And every time there will be at least one that is real. So this is going to distract you and push you to wanting to open these chests while there are other monsters. And possibly just the fact that the chests themselves are likely more dangerous than the monsters. They could be some really bad stuff. There's another ability like that too coming up, but next is ability 5, Chain Lightning. I've felt that NE and even type 7, NE as in extroverted intuition, is sporadic, it's chaotic, it bounces around, and this is a far wisdom spell, so a lot of range, and it's going to do magic damage, and it's going to bounce to nearby heroes and do damage to them. Pretty standard ability, but I feel that it fits. Yeah, it's how I see it anyway. Number 6, Tremor. This is an ability that a monster can do to burrow and travel underground and then burst out, attempting to surprise the heroes and doing ultimate effort. So this is a D12 of effort, which could kill you straight up. Depends. So you need to make a dexterity check to avoid it. It feels like type 7s don't want to sit still. They don't want to stop, so they want to keep moving, and that is one way of representing that within this ability. Also, Lightning Storm, this is another one. You need to make a dexterity check to dodge out of the way of the sky cracking open and shooting down lightning. So if you don't move, there's a chance that you could get shocked. Growth, the ground forms around the target's feet, holding them in place. So this goes really well with Lightning Storm and Tremor. So it's this kind of slow forming rooting that a lot of the type 7s won't want just in life. They don't want to be held down. They don't want to think about stopping, because that's where a lot of the pain and sadness and all those different problems come from, or I guess are held and housed. Continuing to move is what they want to do. Another 2 more abilities here. We have Time Loop, rewind time 1 turn, negating everything done that turn. Type 7s, I feel a lot of times go into the future, they imagine what's going to happen, they play through these fantasies and these idealizations, and then they have to go back to real life and try to either make it happen or do something else. And the last ability here is Treasure Hoarder. This is like the Treasure Goblin, and it's another ability to make you chase things. And this is I'm thinking it's a 2-heart monster, so it requires 20 damage, which is pretty high. And it's holding a piece of epic loot, guaranteed, which is really good, right? And the problem is, though, it runs around, really doesn't want to be hit. You know, it's trying to avoid all this conflict, but every time you hit it, it's going to do 1d6 of damage to all nearby targets. So it's going to just kind of like pulse out a little shock nova, I suppose. So it's difficult to take down, and it just runs back and forth. It could waste time while a timer is ticking down for some big event like that rift portal opening or something like that, but you're like, oh, I really want to get that loot, I really want that epic loot, and so you spend your time on that and bad things happen. I'm sure there are other varieties of these abilities that you might have thought of, and I'm going to continue to think of through the different playthroughs, but yeah, it was good. I enjoyed playing in this kingdom a little bit when I did, so let me know if you have any ideas, anything like that. Keep up the lifelong questing. Thank you very much, patrons. Good luck, have fun. Peace.